Alright, so breakups, ugh, right? They're like this roller coaster ride, except, there's no safety bar, no seatbelt, nothing to hold on to. You're just kind of hanging on for dear life. And honestly, like, it's okay to feel that way. It's wild how heartbreak can make you question everything, who you are, what you want, even what's next on Netflix. Now, here's the thing, heartbreak isn't just sadness. It's like this mashup of emotions. You've got anger, you've got hope, you've got denial, and then bam, it's sadness again. It's like being stuck in this emotional washing machine. And you know what? That's not something to avoid. It's like super important to lean into those emotions. Think about it. If you're angry, let it out. Scream into a pillow, write a dramatic poem, whatever floats your boat. If you're sad, cry it out, binge on cheesy rom-coms, call your best friend at like 3 a.m. But don't try to like bottle it all up. That's a recipe for disaster. Trust me, I've been there. And let's not forget the glow-ups. Some people take heartbreak and turn it into something epic. Take Selena Gomez, for example. She goes through like a really public breakup, and what does she do? She drops a whole album, starts her own beauty line, and basically reminds the world, hey, I'm thriving. That's the kind of energy we want, So yeah, heartbreak can feel like the worst thing ever, but it's also an opportunity to grow in ways you didn't think were possible. Like, who knows what version of yourself is waiting on the other side of all this? Okay, let's talk self-care. That thing we all promise ourselves we'll do more of, but somehow end up scrolling Instagram for like 3 hours instead? Yeah, that. But here's the deal. After a breakup, self-care isn't just bubble baths and scented candles. It's like survival mode with a touch of, I got this. So here's what I mean. Ever tried mindfulness, like not sitting cross-legged on a mountain mindfulness, but, just being present? Take a walk, notice how the air smells, unless of course you're in Dhaka during monsoon season, then maybe skip that. Or try something creative like painting, journaling, or even attempting some TikTok dances. Who cares if it's cringy? It's about letting your brain breathe a little. And then there's the whole support squad thing. I'm talking about your ride or die friends, your chaotic but loving family, or that one coworker who always shares their snacks. Lean on them. Seriously, let them remind you why you're awesome when you feel like you're not. And honestly, you'd be surprised how many people are ready to have your back if you just ask. Now this one's my favorite, turning heartbreak into purpose. Like, did you know some of the most creative people ever were inspired by breakups? Taylor Swift, obviously, but even Van Gogh, his heartbreak led to some of his best work. Imagine that. So whether it's rediscovering an old hobby or finally starting that candle-making business you've been dreaming about, take all that breakup energy and funnel it into something that makes you feel alive. Who knows, you might just create your next masterpiece. Alright, so let's dive into the wonderfully chaotic world of dating in Bangladesh. I mean, dating here isn't like your classic rom-com fantasy. It's more like this small-town drama where, everyone knows everyone else. Like, seriously, your ex's cousin knows your coworker, who also knows your neighbor, and boom, all your secrets are just public knowledge. It's wild. And you can't even talk about dating in brown culture without mentioning family expectations, right? Here, in this part of the world, it's almost like dating comes with this invisible timer, ticking down to when your parents start dropping awkward marriage hints. They're like, Beta, is this serious? Should we talk to their family? And I'm just standing there thinking, can I at least decide if I like their laugh first? Now, I gotta tell you about this crazy breakup I went through. It was messy, messier than the Dhaka traffic at Eid, okay? My ex and I used to have mutual friends, tons of them, and when we broke up, it was just awkward. Even worse, some of those friends kind of doubled as his hype crew. So if I wanted to move on and, stay sane, I had to unfriend people I was super close to. And let me tell you, that hurt in ways I wasn't ready for. It's not just losing the relationship, it's losing the circle that came with it. But see, that's the thing about love and heartbreak in a small pond. It gets complicated fast. You learn that boundaries aren't just nice, they're 100% necessary. And honestly, setting those boundaries, whether it's with family or friends or even yourself, becomes kind of like survival mode. Because let's face it, gossip spreads faster than a Dhaka rooftop party invitation, and if you don't hold your ground, you'll get swallowed whole by all the drama. So you've survived the heartbreak, binged every comfort movie possible, maybe even rediscovered your secret talent for baking. Now what? When do we step back into the dating world without feeling like we're walking into, I don't know, a minefield? The answer is one super awkward baby step at a time. And honestly, patience is key here. It's like we've got to give ourselves enough time to figure out what we really want. You don't just rush into it for the sake of it. Trust me, I've seen this happen to so many people. Like one minute they're crying over their breakup playlist, and the next they're on dating apps swiping on people whose bios are basically just emojis. You know those ones, right? Yeah, avoid those. Experts say it's about resetting your expectations, approaching it with a level head rather than desperation. Easier said than done, but like baby steps, right? Now, let's talk about communication. Has anyone else noticed how some people turn into like poets when they're texting at the start but can't even handle one real adult conversation face to face? It's kind of exhausting. Building something healthy means being open and honest from the get-go. Mutual respect, understanding, making sure both sides are, on the same page about what this is and what it isn't. It's like setting up good Wi-Fi. You invest in it up front so you don't deal with lag later. And speaking of lagging, here's this embarrassing story. A friend of mine met this guy on one of those fancy dating apps. They go out a couple of times and everything seems great until his quirk, and I say that with all the finger quotes, turns out to be ghosting for days and then just popping up like, "Hey, you up?" Classic, right? But here's the thing, she actually learned to spot those red flags early on. Now, it's like her sixth sense. And the best part, she avoided falling into the rebound trap. That's what you call, like, leveling up in the dating game. Honestly, getting back out there is nerve-wracking, but it's also kind of exciting, isn't it? Like, every new connection, every date, even the awkward ones, adds up to something. It's about finding what genuinely clicks for you. And hey, if you're listening to this while nervously waiting for a date to show up, just remember, whether it's epic or a total disaster, you'll walk away with a story. And maybe some fries. So yeah, that's all I've got for today. This whole journey, heartbreak, healing, and then trying again, it's messy, it's awkward, but it's also kind of amazing in its own, well, chaotic way. And on that note, take care of your heart, keep laughing, and I'll see you next time.